Hello and welcome. Oh, I don't have my microphone on. Oh, shoot. I don't even know if you're hearing me right now. Just be right back. Oh my god. I'm back. Hey, and welcome to Knit Tea Live. Oh, I hope my audio. Yes, my audio is going. Whew. Forgot to put my microphone on. Yeah, sorry I'm late this morning, afternoon, wherever you may be. Had technical issues. Mostly it was just my time management skills were not fantastic this morning. That was mostly the technical issue with me. I was the technical issue, but anyway. Whitney, I heard you, haha, but probably more clear with the mic. Yeah, probably more clear with the mic. I'm thinking. Anyway, let's see if I can get my chair up a little bit. There we go, that's better. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated this morning. Obviously, a little bit of a rough start. That's okay. That's part of the fun. Swing it that way. There we go. That's part of the fun of live streaming. You never know what you're gonna get. The little BTS for it. Oh, I spilled coffee on myself. Little BTS for you. I was trying. Well, there were several things that happened, but I was trying to find a scarf to put on, a particular scarf. I've shown it to you guys before. I've worn it before. It's a Tunisian crochet scarf. I wanted to wear it this morning, and I can't find it. My house isn't that big. I don't know where it is. Is it in this cabinet? No, I don't know where it is. I don't know where I put it. It's somewhere. It's probably in my closet. I can't find it. And so I was like running around, and I was like, oh, I'm running out of time. And I was like, you know what, Carrie? You're not beholden to anyone's schedule but your own. You can be a couple minutes late. It's okay. Just calm down. Find your zen. Everything will be fine. So, and then I forgot to put my mic on. So anyway, welcome to Knit Tea Live this morning. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. We haven't had any, major world events, new ones, so that's always good right now. I'm very unhappy with my camera angle this morning. I just, for some reason, can't seem to get it the way I want it, but it's fine. Whitney, when you want something, it magically disappears, but when you don't need it, it's there, right? Exactly. 100%. It's always like that. It's like, oh, there's that thing. I don't need it right now, but I don't remember where it is. And then when I need it, it's like, where did it go? I can't find it. What happened? And admittedly, I do have the propensity, the bad habit, of just putting things down randomly, thinking, oh, I'll remember where it is, and then it's not where I remember it being. And yeah. And I have tried to be that person who's like, everything has its place, and I'm gonna designate this spot for this thing, and then I won't run into this problem, right? That's how it's supposed to work. Not with me. In college, I had a tendency to take my dorm key and throw it. When I walked into my dorm room, my dresser was right there. And a lot of times the bottom dresser drawer was open. Because why not? And I had a tendency when I came into the room to throw my dorm key, into that open drawer. And then, be dumbfounded the next morning on where it was and running late to class because I couldn't find my dorm key and yada, 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 yada. So I was like, okay, here's my desk and there's a pin board on the desk. So I'm going to put this thumbtack on the pin board. I'm going to put my key there and that will be my key holding place, right? And I will solve this problem. I will be a more productive freshman this way. Wake up the next morning, I am tearing my room apart trying to find this key. Cannot find this key. I'm running super late for class. Cannot find my key. I look in the drawer where it normally is. It's not there. What is going on? And finally, it hits me. Oh, wait, you had that plan to avoid this by designating that spot. It was the last place I thought to look. Like, yeah, so I have to instead be the person who sees what I do naturally and just make sure that that's what I always do. And that's how I figure out where to put things. It's like, where do I tend to put them anyway? But yeah, the whole designating, like, here's the spot that you're always going to put it, that never works for me, because the logical place that you will put something is not the logical place for me, apparently. Oh god, I need coffee so bad this morning. Anyway, so today, a little behind the scenes on who is Carrie Craft Geek. Today I'm going to talk to you about color. We're going to talk about color, how we make color choices. I am planning to do a video on some color basics, but that's going to take a little time because I really need to plot that out and make sure I have good samples to explain what it is I'm talking about. I don't want to just like do it off the cuff, which is what I often do with my videos. Like my video on Friday, that was not the video I planned to sit down and shoot. It turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. It's just not the one I planned to shoot. It was on the docket. I had plans to shoot it at some point, just not on the day that I shot it. But anyway, I started shooting another video and it didn't work. It didn't work. But anyway, a little more behind the scenes on what happens with Carrie Craft Geek. So color, we're going to talk about color today, how we pick colors. I'm going to show you as an example the beginning of my temperature blanket and the colors that I chose for it and kind of the thought process that went into it. So, and really as kind of an exercise on how to think about how you can think about picking out colors when you're doing color work, and how I tend to approach it. And I would love to hear your thoughts on colors. Do you like picking out colors? Are you intimidated by colors? I know a lot of people are intimidated by picking out colors and think they're not good with color. And I think most people are better with color than they realize. There's just a few simple things that can help you along. Just a few little tips that can help in terms of understanding how to think about picking out colors for a project. So yeah, I thought we'd just be a colorful day. See what I did there? And then also and this is the big thing. To me, this is the big thing I'm going to share, which is I have a product that I have been recommending on Fiber Happenings and in general, and I am no longer recommending it, and I'm going to get into the story of why that is. And we will have a pattern spotlight. So yes, please, if you're here, make sure that you say hi in the chat box so I know that you're here and I can say hi to you personally. And let's get started. Should we start with the drama first? Let's start with the drama first. What is the product that I am no longer recommending? It is this. Try not to hit yourself in the face. Let's do this hand. It is this. This is my Knit Picks, I'm blanking on how to say this. My Knit Picks Interchangeable Crochet Hook. This is in the color Caspian. They no longer sell this particular color choice in the Interchangeable Crochet Hook. The only one that they sell now is in this rainbow one. I think it's called Radiance. And yeah, they're no longer, but it's still the same crochet hook. It's just the laminated wood, which is what this is made out of. It's laminated birch wood, is a different color. And let me just bring up my overhead. That's the right one. So here's so this crochet hook. You might be looking at going, Carrie, what's the problem? It looks perfectly fine. Why are you no longer recommending it? Well, you may remember a couple months ago, I started the Tunisian crochet step up, that's what I called, scarf by Aclore Designs. And I'm still working on that. You may recall that crochet hook broke. The wooden section of the crochet hook came out of the metal, I don't know the technical term for this, but I call it the casing, metal casing on this point. I fixed it. I was able to fix it using 5-minute epoxy. Loctite 5-minute epoxy is what I used to fix it. And, oh, I never left that shot. So, yeah. And I really chalked up that one crochet hook breaking to, you know, maybe it's just a lemon. Like, you know, that happens. Any interchangeable crochet or needle set, sometimes you just get a needle that doesn't work. You get a lemon or a whole set where there's problems, but the quality overall of the brand is good. You just got stuck with the bad one. And I just kind of chalked it up to that, especially because I had used these Tunisian crochet hooks before. When I first learned how to do Tunisian crochet, this exact crochet hook was the crochet hook I used for my first big project with that technique. And it was fine. And I tested all the other crochet hooks in my set, and they all felt tight and well adhesive. Like the adhesive was good. So I was like, okay, I think it's just that one crochet hook. I fixed it. I still feel comfortable recommending this to people as a good option for interchangeable crochet set if they want to use that for Tunisian crochet. Well, I started working on my temperature blanket, and I'll show you that in a bit. My temperature blanket, if you have been following me on Instagram or you are part of my Knits Where It's At Mighty Network group, you know that I have been using Tunisian crochet for my temperature blanket. And this crochet hook was working just fine. And then at one point, let's just switch. I was going along, doing my Tunisian crochet, everything's fine. And then I felt this. I felt it move. I heard a slight click and I felt it move. And I realized that the adhesive that was holding this wood in the metal casing had given way. And this was now loose. So, yeah, it broke, basically. Again, it broke the exact same way as that first hook that broke. In that it was clean. The wood itself didn't break. It's just that this came out of the metal casing. So I was able to fix it. I used the same exact product. I used the epoxy, the 5-minute epoxy, and I was able to fix this. But now I've had 2 crochet hooks from that set break, and at this point, I can't recommend it anymore. So I have taken that recommendation off of Fiber Happenings. I will continue using the set. I have it. I just have to be aware now that these crochet hooks are not built to last. They're not. I don't think. Now, to be 100% fair, it is always tricky with this sort of arrangement where you have wood sitting in a metal casing like this. There's always going to be a difficulty in keeping that wood solidly encased in the metal. Does that make sense? Because here's the problem with metal and wood and trying to have them together in one product like this, is that you have to have a really strong adhesive to keep this together. Because the way that most adhesives actually work and work best is with porous surfaces. Wood is porous. Adhesives, glues, epoxies, they work really well with wood because those adhesives can get into the pores and kind of solidify in there. And then if the other side that you're gluing onto it is also a porous material, the glue seeps into those pores and it helps bond the 2 pieces together because the adhesive is just really into each piece. Well, metal, right? Metal is a non-porous surface, so the adhesive will bond to the metal to some degree, but it's never going to bond as tightly as it would with a porous material. So I suspect what is going on with the crochet hooks is these are a few years old now, and I expect that the adhesive that was used in the manufacturing is getting old and brittle, and that I might be using the torque that I use when I'm doing the crochet projects might just be, wearing down, and the adhesive just isn't strong enough to hold it all together. That's what I suspect is happening. So, yeah. Can I say that this could be a problem with any kind of wooden crochet hook like this? Yes. Yes, I can say that. But it also means I'm not comfortable recommending this anymore. I always say I'm not going to recommend any products that I wouldn't recommend to my best friend, who's my sister. But I can't recommend this anymore. So this is no longer a recommendation. I'm sad. I will still use them. If more break, I can fix them. But I'm also now on a hunt for a alternative crochet system that I can feel comfortable recommending to people. I'm very intrigued actually by, and always have been, intrigued by the Denise interchangeable crochet sets. I have Denise interchangeable needles, which isn't my favorite, but I suspect I might like it better with the crochet hooks. So I'm gonna see about trying to save up for that. So that's that. That's the big thing with this. I'm really sad about it. I really am, because these are wood, and even though I don't like wood needles, I like wood crochet hooks, and I'm really sad that these just aren't built to last. Sad about it. And I'm sad too, because I felt really good about recommending them up until a week ago, and now it's can't recommend them anymore. So that is that. I should also note, by the way, that I am a KnitPicks affiliate. I should also have done my affiliate disclaimer already. But yes, I am, by the way, an affiliate with KnitPicks, which just means that I have an affiliate link down the description box, along with others that are clearly indicated. And if you click on one of those links and purchase something from their website, I may receive a small commission, and that helps me support my efforts here at Knits Where It's At, Carrie Craft Geek, and my mission of spreading the joy of knitting and crafting in general. So, but yes, I always say though, with the affiliate links, I'm honest about them, and I don't recommend things, even if I am an affiliate with them, I do not recommend things that I cannot stand behind 100%. And generally with KnitPicks, I would not be affiliated with them if I didn't really believe in the company and have an overall great experience with them. I do. It's just this one product. I don't think it's necessarily a bad product, but it's not a product I can really wholeheartedly get behind anymore. So that's that. Okay, so what am I doing with this Tunisian crochet hook? I am making a temperature blanket this year. Who wants to see my progress and see the colors? Let's look at them now. Let me get the right thing going. Oh, that's not the one I want. I want this one. Okay. So here it is. This is my temperature blanket so far. I am all cut up on my blocks. I did yesterday. Oh, that's the wrong side. I did yesterday's. And let's get a better look on the overhead. There we go. Just adjust my camera a little bit. I want to zoom out. Oops, there we go. A little bit so you can see a little bit better. Yeah, so this is where I'm at so far with this. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying how this is turning out. You can see that I'm doing a technique called, I do need my mouse back. There we go. I'm doing a technique called, Tunisian crochet entrelac block. So basically, it's not mitered squares, but it's kind of the same idea of knitting mitered squares, where I'm knitting one block at a time, and they get attached as I go. So I Tunisian crocheted. This was my first block, and then I came to the side and did my second block, and then I came over to the top here and did my third block, and it was attached to this first block as I went. So, and this is being worked corner to corner, so they get worked in a diagonal. So this was my first block, this was the second row, this diagonal, this was the second row, this diagonal here is my third, this diagonal here was my fourth, right? And then there's this fifth diagonal up here. So that's how I'm working this. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying it. Here we go. I'm really enjoying it. I'm gonna start my sixth diagonal. We'll start here, and it'll work into this corner. So what happens is you pick up stitches along this edge, and then as you build each row of the Tunisian crochet, you pick up a stitch in the side here and build it up that way. And then it just builds up, like building up a step, like, you know, and doop. So that's how it works. I'm very excited about this. I think it's really pretty. I don't think the lighting and right now at all is doing this justice. This navy blue looks almost black, but it's navy blue. And this here is my color chart that I have, that I put together. I chose 10 colors, which is, I'll be honest, choosing 10 colors is a lot, and trying to choose 10 colors that I like and that I think would all work together, and that where something called the color value would sort out well. I like blues, Whitney, I like blues and purples. I like blues and purples as well. I agree. Blues, purples, greens, that's my favorite part of the color wheel. I'm a cool color. I love all, well, I don't love yellow so much. Yellow is not my favorite color, but I love all colors. I do. I love all the colors. But this is my my chart. If you are interested in doing a temperature blanket, never too late to start. Never too late to start your 2021 color temperature blanket, and it doesn't have to be temperature. I saw one person online who's doing cloud coverage. She lives in Seattle. It doesn't feel like there's going to be a big enough temperature range, so she's using cloud coverage each day for her coating her blanket. Never too late to start. And you don't even have to do, it doesn't have to be 2021. You can do, a lot of people will do, I'm going to sneeze. It's coming. I'm sorry. That was a big one. Sometimes people will do a historical color blanket, like they'll choose their anniversary or their child's birthday, and they'll look up all the daily highs or lows from that year and do a temperature blanket based on that. So, yeah. Whitney, I want to feel like it's too late. No, it's not too late. But you just said it's not too late. I need to pick colors. It's not too late. It's really not. And you know, the thing is, it's like, it is a year-long project. But you know, people will work it in fits and starts where you kind of put it aside and then you catch up. I started my blocks on, let's see, what's today? What's today's date? Today's date is the 17th. I think I started my blocks on, actually I know exactly when I started them, because this is my temperature log, and on my temperature log, the days that I had to catch up on, I actually typed in, and then when I started having to write them in, because I printed, was the day I started actually crocheting the blocks. So I started crocheting my blocks on the 13th. One of the reasons, though, I did choose to do Tunisian crochet instead of knitting for something like this is that crochet it can be a little faster to crochet than it can be to knit. That's just the truth. Oh, something else I forgot to mention just real quick, even though we're going to focus on color today. Something else I decided to do with this was each row, corner to corner row, diagonal row, is going to be knit in a different stitch pattern. So here along the border, every stitch along the border is going to be what's called Tunisian simple stitch. Carrie, it helps if you actually switch your camera. So this is Tunisian simple stitch. This is what you think of a lot of times if you are familiar with Tunisian crochet. This is the stitch pattern you think of. And then here, where's a good example where you can really see it? Here's one. here, this is called Tunisian purl stitch. So that's just a different crochet technique. And then here, does that look like knitting? Yes, it does, but it's not knitting. This is the Tunisian knit stitch. It creates a stitch that looks like knitting. So just to kind of keep things more interesting for myself, each row I'm doing a different stitch pattern, and for the month of January, I'm going to alternate rows. I'm alternating the diagonal rows in January between Tunisian simple stitch, Tunisian purl stitch, and Tunisian knit stitch. And that's just to kind of keep things interesting for myself. Now, in February, I might change up what stitch patterns I use, but this is a way for me to kind of explore more Tunisian crochet and not only have this beautiful color work happening, but also just sort of have a little bit of a Tunisian crochet stitch sampler for myself. So that was kind of my thought process. We'll see. We'll see how it develops, how it evolves. But that's one of the fun things too about this I am discovering, because this is very much a design it yourself sort of project that you can really make it as straightforward or as complicated as you want it to be. And it gives you an opportunity to like explore things in a very kind of accessible format, like a blanket. So yes, pick your colors, Whitney. Join the group. You haven't joined yet. Join the group. Prayer pressure. Anyway, so yeah, but this chart, I have it as a download if you join my Mighty Network group, which there is a link for that in the description box, or at least there should be. But if you join that, you can download the chart for free, and you can also download the log, so you have that for yourself to work on if you'd like. And it's just a fun thing, and yeah. And on the group, I have a couple of longer posts about like how to, like, questions you can ask yourself to help you get started on your temperature blanket and everything. I threw, just FYI, I kind of threw this all together at the last minute. So I'm figuring out this make along as it goes. But, you know, hopefully it'll be fun. It's just a way for people to kind of like, you know, connect with one another while sharing and doing a project. But the colors, how did I go about picking the colors? So this is about half the colors. So here's my chart. I'm going to put this to the side for a second. And I'll switch this. So here are all my colors here. And they're assigned to a temperature range. I chose to divide up my temperature range into in Fahrenheit because I'm in the US. And we're, you know, behind on those things. Ronald Reagan. But I, living in Los Angeles, if I had done a 10-degree range for my color chart, there are colors I never would have gotten down to. Like it was never going to get below 40. Like a daily high below 45 degrees in Los Angeles is like unlikely where I live. Unlikely. So I did mine in 5-degree increments. And these are the color I chose. The way that I approached doing my colors, picking my colors, sorry, I'm clicking around, there we go. The way that I approached choosing my colors was I picked the portion of the color wheel that I wanted most of my colors to be in. And that was most definitely blues, greens, and purples. My favorite color is green. I love the color green. I always have, I always will. It's my favorite color. But I also love blues and purples. So you can see right here on my color chart, switch over here again. This here, the majority of my colors are purple. This one here, this is eggplant. This is kind of a purpley red, but it's still in the purple. So this is a little bit of a warmer purple. Then I wanted at least one neutral, so I picked this gray, and this is just medium gray, and I liked this gray because I thought gray can be tricky, truth be told. Gray can be a tricky color to blend with other colors because of the way the dyeing process to create grays. I mean, we all know from our, childhood mixing color fun that black and white make gray. What's so complicated about that? Well, when it comes to dyeing, just mixing black and white actually creates grays that are very like flat and not the most attractive. So the other, oh God, I forget exactly how. The other way to create grays though is mixing. I always forget. Is it the complementary colors that you mix together? Something. I had to look it up. I can't remember. This is why I'm planning the video, because there's certain things with color theory that I know generally, but I have to look up specifics like that. But the way that, basically, the long and short of it, grays, different shades of grays, because of the dyeing process, have different undertones based on what was the foundation of the color. Some grays are warmer, they use more yellows as the basis of creating that shade of gray. Other grays are cooler, they're using things like blues to create that color. And what can happen with grays is if you put a warm gray with a cool color, the gray can then look muddy. And this is why sometimes you can look at a gray on its own, it'd be really pretty and really love it, but then you try to match it with another color and it suddenly looks muddy and bleh. It's because of the undertone. The color that you're putting it with is pulling out the undertone in an unattractive way. And the other thing that could happen with grays, which is really interesting, I don't have it with me, unfortunately. I knitted my daughter a baby blanket for when she was born, and I used a green and a gray, and they worked really so lovely together. But the really interesting thing about it was the gray next to the green pulled out lavender. And so this gray in the blanket looks almost like lavender. And it's pretty. It's so pretty, but it was so unexpected. So I love grays, but grays can be tricky. Grays can be tricky to work with. But I felt very confident that this gray would work well with either these blues and greens or the pops of pinks that I chose, which leads me to the next thing. So I wanted neutral, so I had the gray, and then I had this navy blue as well. And the navy blue, navy blue we think of as a neutral because it can go with any color. It's kind of a mock neutral. It's not a true neutral the way black, white, and grays are, but that's like a technical point. So the navy blue's acting as a neutral as well, but I did want to make sure I popped some accent colors that would be contrasting. So that's why I picked these two pinks, was to make sure that I just had some. I didn't want it to just be all blues and greens. B, it was hard to find 10 different shades of blue and green that were going to have enough difference in color value for it not to, like, I just wanted to make sure that the colors didn't get lost against one another. Because when I first was planning this blanket, I was going to knit just row by row. But that's a whole other story. So that was like how I thought about it, which was, let me choose, the half of the color wheel I want most of my blocks to be. I chose cool colors. Let me make sure I have at least 1 to 2 neutrals. So I chose a true neutral with the gray, and then I have my navy blue here, which is in that cool range, but it acts as a neutral as well. And the reason I wanted to have a neutral, at least 2 neutrals, was because with this number of colors, neutrals can just kind of help ground everything and provide some balance, so it doesn't like make your eyes bleed. Because sometimes if something is just too many bright colors, your eyes want to just kind of melt out of your sockets. And what the neutrals can do is sort of just give your eyes a little bit of like, I can settle here for a second and have a little moment of rest. And then the pinks, and then an accent color, which was in a contrasting range. So I'm focused on cool colors. Let me have like pinks, which are warmer, and those can be contrasting with these greens and these blue greens. And one of the things too, in my opinion, pink is one of those colors that goes so well with almost anything, that it's, if as an accent color, if you're in the cool range, having a pink, you're going to be good. If you wanted to do a blanket that was more in the warm range, where the focus of your colors were oranges and yellows and reds, then I would say for an accent color, go with a blue. Because I think blue, like pink, is one of those colors that just really goes well with almost everything. Purple too. Purple would be good too. Green, yeah, I think you gotta be careful with. I think you gotta be careful with greens. I love green. Green is my favorite color, but green can go sideways quickly. So that was sort of my thought process in terms of choosing my colors for the blanket. One last thing that I considered, then I had to think about how I wanted to arrange my color range. Now, you look at this, and pink is at the top of the scale, and, well, I have this eggplant down at the bottom. You might think, oh, bottom of the scale, why not just do this dark navy blue, because that, the coldest temperature, so you should have the coldest color there. The reason I didn't do that was because of what is a concept called color value. What is color value? Well, color value. How to explain color value? Color value is how relatively light or dark a color is. But color value is really tricky sometimes to really suss out, because actually the color itself, what's called the chroma, or the hue of the color, whether it's blue, red, green, what have you, can get in the way of seeing what the value of the color is. Because to really be able to see what the value of a color is, you kind of got to get the color out of the way. So that you can see what it would look like as a grayscale, basically. I don't know if I'm explaining this well. This is one of the reasons why when I'm planning that video, I'm really scripting it out to make sure I have my explanations of all of this really clear. But I think that color value is the thing that trips people up the most when they're trying to pick colors in their color work. And that is because you can have two colors that to your eye look very different, right? Because that's clearly a blue and that's clearly a purple. But when you put them together, if they're the same color value, if you put them together, they blend together and you lose the blue and you lose the purple. And it's because they're the same color value. That's the long and short of it. And it just happens all the time. I don't have it near me, do I? No, I don't. I have this souvenir yarn that I got from Napa Valley, and they're lovely. And there's a pink, and there's a brown, and they're clearly different colors, but when I try to knit them together, like in a stripe pattern, you can't see the difference between them. The blue, the brown, and the pink are totally lost. And the reason is because they're the same color value. And so what I do now, so if it's hard to detect what color value is, the other thing, this is why I have to organize this. The other thing about color value is it's relative, meaning you can take a shade that's on its own, looks like it's in the medium range. It's not too dark, it's not too light, it's medium. You take that, you put it against a dark color, suddenly the color value is lighter than it was before. So color value can shift based on the other colors that are around it. But you know what? There's a really, really simple tool in order to evaluate whether two colors based on color value can work together in a project. Really simple tool. I would hold it up and say, it's my phone, but my phone is like being used right now for this video. But your phone, if you take your phone and go into the store and you put two yarns together that you're interested in maybe putting together, all right? Put them down, take a photo of it, and put the black and white filter on it, okay? That makes it black and white. You will then see the grayscale, and you will see if they are the same value or not. If they are the same value, they will look like the same shade of gray. If they're not the same value, one will look lighter than the other. And that is how you can make sure when you're putting colors together that one color isn't going to get lost. And generally what you're aiming for is to have like a dark color, a light color, and then a medium color in between. So when you take the photo, you want to see something that looks almost black, something that looks almost white, and then something that looks gray in the middle. And that is how you can put 3 colors together. Now, obviously this is a 10 color chart, right? So what I did with color value in mind was to sit there and go, okay, I have these different colors. How can I arrange them so that I almost saw them as sections of the chart, because it's very unlikely that I'm going to go from a 73-degree day, right, to a 101 up day, where I'm like the highest part of this. That's unlikely. I'm probably at any given time in the year, I'm going to be waving between 10 to 15 degrees, right? So I sat there and I said, okay, here's this first 3 parts of my chart, and I'm going to make sure I have a dark, a medium, and a light together. And then I'm going to shift down to this part of the chart. And you notice these are kind of more like, let me zoom in a little bit. There you go. This is like a dark green, a light, and then this blue here, right? So even when I was buying the colors, I was like, okay, I'm going to have a brighter pink, a dark pink, and a light pink. Then I got my gray, and then I have this dark green, then this lighter kind of green. This is an aqua. And then, so those are 2 colors. And then I have this blue. So I chose like a dark version of blue and then a lighter version of blue and then the darkest. So this is my medium, this is my light, this is my dark. I'm not explaining this fantastically, but that's what I did basically with the chart. Was I have light, medium, dark, medium, light, dark, medium. This is more medium, truth be told. Medium, light, dark, medium, dark. And that's how I did it. And what I did, I meant to have this picture so I could show you, but I have a picture that I took where I had all my skeins of yarn in a circle, and then I took the photo of it and put on the black and white filter so that I could see, and I made sure that I rearranged it so no dark was next to each other, no lights were right next to each other, no mediums were next. So it would have that sequencing going on. So I hope that makes sense, what I just said. And I don't feel like I'm explaining it as well as I could, but that was my thought process in terms of choosing colors for my temperature blanket. And it is, I have to say, a fun way to explore colors. Now, I chose 10 colors. You don't have to choose 10 colors. You could do a temperature blanket with 4 colors and have just a very wide temperature range, right? And that might feel more approachable to you. You totally do that. And then you could, and if you were going to do 4 colors, you could choose, again, we'll say the cooler end of things, choose a blue, a green, and a purple, and then have an accent color, or blue, green, and purple, and choose a neutral as your 4th color. You could totally do that. You could do 5. You can do as many or as few colors as you want. You could do 6 color. So, but I chose 10. I went crazy. I chose 10. So yeah, that is that. Any questions? Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, or would like to share your what are your concerns when you are picking out colors, or what approach do you take with colors? Are you intuitive with your color selection? I tend to lean more towards my intuition with color and be like, ooh, I like that, and then figure out, will they actually go together? But I have just enough technical knowledge, even if I don't always like remember all the details, I have just enough technical knowledge to kind of keep myself out of trouble. But I love color. Color is, even though today I'm in all grays, I do love color. Color is what draws me into things in terms of projects. Like, that's what draws me into knitting. It's like just all the pretty colors. I think one of the reasons I like acrylic yarns, even though I carry some shame about that, but I like the bright colors that can be done with acrylic. I just do. By the way, just FYI, for this is the Joanne's Big Twist yarn, which I reviewed. I am Joanne's affiliate now. I was not at the time of that review, but I have reviewed this yarn, but I'm doing this blanket with the Joanne's, and I gotta say, I really like it. Like, it has been a pleasure to work with. I have really enjoyed the yarn. I'm very excited about this yarn, even more so than after I finished that review. But yeah, I'm digging that Big Twist yarn. I really am. Okay. What? Oh, wow. I talked a lot. Whitney, I really like it too. It's good. It's a good acrylic yarn. I always tell people, I'm like, acrylic has come a long way, baby. Like, it is not your grandmother's acrylic yarn out there anymore. It's really not. Don't get me wrong. Natural fibers is always going to kind of be my preference, but there is a place in acrylic yarn for acrylic yarn. There is a place for acrylic yarn in my life, and there is a place for the Big Twist acrylic yarn in my life. Most deaf. The only thing I will say, though, about the Big Twist in terms of the temperature blanket, part of the reason I changed up my plan, originally I was going to do my temperature blanket tracking row by row and just crocheting one row of Tunisian crochet for each day. Had I done that, which would have been like, what, 365 rows? My blanket would have been like a wall hanging. Like, it could have been a tapestry. It would have been ginormous. Like, so I was like, I have to change my plan. That's why I went with the blocks, because I could better control the eventual size of the blanket. So that's why. But yeah, if you want to go row by row, you might want to choose a DK weight yarn. That's what I learned. At least a DK or a sport. You could go smaller. You can always go smaller. But I know a lot of people aren't crazy like I am and love knitting. Like, when I knitted my chuppah for my wedding, I designed and knitted a chuppah covering. When I did that, I made it 5 feet by 5 feet. And it was, I knitted it on sock weight yarn with like size 0 needles. And I loved it. But most people don't want to do that. I don't think most people want to knit like a 5 by 5 blanket with sock weight yarn on size 0 needles. It was beautiful. I can't talk about it much or I'll start crying because of moths. Anyway, who's ready for a pattern spotlight? Because there were quite a few new pattern releases that came out this week, and I want to make sure that we hit them all. And there's some news and sales to discuss as well. Real quick before I switch over my screen, I want to make sure that's set up. Not on my Fiber Happenings list. I saw it too late and it didn't make it on. But I did want to bring up that Louise Tilbrook, who is on the Fiber Indie list, so you can find all of her links on Knitting Indie. She is having a sale this weekend. Today's the last day of her sale, but she's definitely a friend of Fiber Happenings and the Fiber Indie list, and her work is just really lovely, lovely, lovely work. So if we have time at the end, I might pop over to her Payhip so that you can just take a look at it real quick. But I wanted to make sure that I shouted that out because it's not on Fiber Happenings. Because I saw it go on sale. Her sale went up after I updated Fiber Happenings, and yeah. Okay, so Fiber Happenings, just getting down. Oh my god, I'm so excited for this first one! Alright, so let's desktop. Okay, So this first project is from Amy Snell, the Devious Knitter, and she has a cowl called the Brioche. This is brioche, and let me just say, I love this color combination. I love the neon yellow with the blue. I think it is so fun. I think it is so modern. I a while ago, talking about color, let's talk about color for a second. A couple of years ago, I think somebody made mention of like, why is it that knitters tend to choose these very more subdued, earthy tones, and crochet tends to be these much brighter, in-your-face kind of colors? I don't know the answer to that, but I think that knitters, we should get comfortable with picking more vibrant tones, because I love bold colors, even as I sit here in all gray today. Like, I can't even tell you guys, like, outside of this world, that and then my craft room, like, when I'm working on shows, I'm known as having, like, just constantly wearing color, big colors, lots of colors, but I love this. This is, oh, and it's free. I didn't realize this. It looks like this is a free pattern, so there is no reason not to get this if it's free, and check out some of Amy's other work. But it is, she uses this pattern to teach students to learn brioche by working 2 colors in the round. And if you've never done brioche knitting, it is really fun. Whitney, yeah, it's really pretty. I've done brioche knitting. It's really fun. It is a technique that can trip people up. I think it's a technique that trips people up sometimes because you have to wrap your head around how the rows work with brioche knitting, because especially with 2-color brioche, 2 passes, so you knit front and then you knit back, is 1 row. Other than that, it's really a variation on ribbing. It's a variation of a rib stitch, but Whitney, never done it before because I feel like it's intimidating. A lot of people do. I personally, I don't know. Here's how I learned brioche. I learned brioche knitting by taking a Craftsy class, which I don't really recommend Craftsy right now. Maybe I'll do a video on that eventually, but that's how I learned. So I actually learned from, and the Craftsy class was by, I want to make sure I say her name correctly. I have her book. Where is it? Can't find it because my books are not alphabetical. I know I'm going to say her name wrong. Oh, here it is. Okay, found it. Nancy. I always want to call her Natalie, and it's Nancy. Nancy Marchand. I have her book, but I took her Craftsy class. That's how I learned brioche knitting, and she's kind of the person who reintroduced America, at least, to brioche knitting. So, you know, if you're gonna learn brioche from somebody, she's kind of the person to do it. And she explained it really well. So I do think that it's a technique that it benefits having someone teach you how to do it. I think it's a little trickier to learn to do brioche on your own. That being said, especially that pattern, the pattern from Amy Snell, this is a very straightforward brioche pattern and it's done in 2 colors. And the thing with brioche knitting in 2 colors is each pass of 1 row is done with 1 color. So you do color A, well, this is knitted in the round, so you're not going to turn the work, but then you would do the next round in the 2nd color. So it's so pretty. So if you're interested in brioche knitting, this is a good pattern to dip your toe with, and it's free. It's a free pattern. It's hard to beat that. In fact, I'm going to just click download now on that right now, because why not? It's free. And I'm going to just, oh, you guys know my email. It's knitswhereit'sat.com. Knitswhereit'sat.com at gmail. Knitswhereit'sat. Knitswhereit'sat at gmail.com. Continue. Fairy Craft Geek. Download now. The reason it's going to ask for your email address is that will put you on Amy's email list. But I have to say, I never feel overwhelmed by her emails. Amy Snell, by the way, she's definitely a friend of Knits Where It's At. She's on the Knitting Indie list. And so, yeah. 4 download attempts remain. There, boom, have it. Done and done. So very excited. Now, okay, there we go. So, yeah, it's free. It's a free pattern, and this would be a good one to dip your toe into with brioche knitting. Next, we're gonna come on down for some adorableness. Oh my goodness, this is so cute. This is a small crochet project. It is, oh shoot, sorry. From Confusion Maven, Amigurumi. Oh, I hope I said that right. Kawaii Hearts pattern. Amigurumi, if you're not familiar with it, you mostly see it in crochet, but it's a stuffed toy genre of crochet, although you can do it with knitting as well. Amigurumi is Japanese. Oh shoot, I forget what it translates to. But these are little amigurumi hearts, and they're adorable. This is designed for worsted weighted yarn. And the thing about something like this is the type of project that is fantastic for leftover yarn that you don't know what to do with. She recommends you can make these up to put into a little bowl, so it'd be a little, decoration. Thing that came to my mind immediately when I saw this was making a mobile for your kid. So this could be like a fun project that you could do with your child, especially if you wanted to teach them crochet, but you could crochet them up and then together you could string them into a mobile or just string them as like a wall decoration. If it's the holidays, you could make these as ornaments for your tree. Lots of little things that you could do with a project like this and have some fun. Real cute. And yeah, that's adorable. Next, from our friend of Knit Tea Live, Natalie's crochet design. She has an adorable, oh my god, this is so cute. I kind of want it for myself. But this is a convertible ponytail hat. So what this project is, it's a hat. Is it a cowl? Is it a head wrap? Yes, it's all three. It's all three. But this is for your daughter or your son. Boys can have long hair too. But yeah, it's a convertible hat. Wear it as a beanie, a ponytail, messy bun hat, or a fitted cowl. You can make a larger size to wear only as a cowl. Use code PONYTAIL to get it 50% off through the end of January. So this is on sale right now. And yeah, and all special stitches in the pattern are written out and have links to video tutorials. So yeah, I think this is an adorable pattern. Well done, Natalie. If you watch this on the replay, well done. Well done. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful work. Going on down, we have a new pattern from Periwinkle Dragon Designs. This is the White Water Rapids Toque. And can I just say, I always love it when a design actually uses the word toque, which is like a beanie. We would call it a beanie in the United States. In Canada, they call it a toque, and I think we should popularize that in the United States because I just love it saying the word toque. Or maybe it's talk. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly because I'm not Canadian. Although I do enjoy curling. I watch curling in non-Olympic years. But I'm going to go over to her website real quick because I want to just be able to see more pictures of it. So you can see it here. I'm going to just read from her website. This warm, comfortable hat uses knit-wise slipping of long, elongated stitches to twist them as they lie on top of the fabric. So it just gives this is like an elongated slip stitch pattern, and it gives this really lovely texture. She has done her pattern, her hat sample, with a variegated yarn, but I think this would be really lovely in a solid or a light variegated yarn, a tonal. And I personally, if I were knitting this, I would probably knit it as a slouchy hat because I like slouchy beanies. So, but it's meant to be just slightly slouchy as a nod to the traditional conical Canadian toque. This hat is available in 6 sizes from baby to adult, and it features a crown knit in pattern as well as twisted rib cuff. Ooh, twisted rib. Add a snap pom-pom to the top for a pop of color. Gorgeous, really pretty. I love Periwinkle Dragon's work. I love her work, and this is, I think, one of her very, some of her work, because she uses unusual, or, I don't want to say unusual, but she uses, we'll go with unusual, that's all I can think of. A lot of her work features different sort of structures that can look intimidating. This is a very straightforward hat, but it still has just beautiful texture, which I think is true across almost all of her patterns. So I'm a fan. So let's go back over. I have so many to get through, and I'm already running late on this. So next up is Victoria Marchant Knits, and she has another fingerless glove pattern, and this is her Raindrops fingerless gloves. And I think it's lovely. I think it's just so, so lovely. Raindrops is a pair of short fingerless mitts decorated with eyelet raindrops. When I saw the stitch pattern, I immediately thought of a little pair of mitts to take the chill off a cold umbrella handle on a wet, rainy day. Victoria, she lives in England, so she's very familiar with wet, rainy days that can come on suddenly. In the UK, they can. Been through it. But these are just lovely. I love the movement of the stitches. I love the little eyelets. It looks like this is done on a garter background. So there is some purling involved, even though I imagine that these are worked in the round. But really, really lovely. Yeah. And, oh, this wasn't coming up last week. But this pattern has since been released, and this is the Knitting Tutor, the Worth It Stranded Hat. And you can't see it so much. There we go. This hat has this lovely colorwork pattern, and then the crown has these lines of broken rib that give this really nice texture to the crown of the hat. And I think this is just a really lovely hat. If you have not tried colorwork before, this would be a really good pattern to dip your toe into that world. This is a pretty straightforward stranded colorwork pattern motif, and it's just on the brim, so you can try out that technique, and then you can kind of leave it behind and have just a nice relaxing bit of interesting texture as you work the crown. So yeah, I think this is a great pattern if you are interested in trying stranded colorwork for the first time, or you just want to touch of stranded colorwork in your life. And that is all of the new patterns that are out this week that are on Fiber Happenings. I'm sure there are others, but that's what's featured on Fiber Happenings. And like so many great patterns this week. I was really excited by everything I saw, just everything. I'm scrolling down, you can't see it right now, just to get down to the news. There's a couple of little highlight news that I want to share, make sure everyone sees before we wrap things up today. Right here, from Sarah Dawn's Designs, this is her Wrought Mithril Knit Along. This is her featured pattern of the month, and she is having a knit along that goes along with it. The knit along is through the end of the month, and I imagine it's not too late to jump in since she sent this to me to put on Fiber Happenings. Well, actually, I made a mistake. She sent it to me the week before, but I accidentally deleted her submission It's a long story, but she sent it back to me, and I was able to get it up this week. But the pattern itself is on sale on her both her Etsy and her PayUp store. So if you're interested in this pattern, it is on sale for the month of January. Scrolling on down, Amy Snell. We have an announcement from Amy Snell. Amy has started a Zoom knit together once a month, and her next one is on February 5th. If you'd like to join in, it's called Wooden Knit. Be fun. I think that is so fun. The name of it, but it's a Zoom knit together, and you can register to be part of the Zoom and join in with that. And she then loads the recording of that Zoom get together onto her YouTube. So if you just want to watch the replay later, that will appear on her YouTube channel. So please check her out and subscribe and like her videos, because she's just, again, another friend. Everyone in Fiber Happenings is a friend of Fiber Happenings. They're all people that, some people I had kind of mutually followed on Twitter and Instagram before I started Fiber Happenings, but a lot of people I've come into contact with because of Fiber Happenings. They gave me their information, and I started following them on social media. So yeah, and that, my friends, is all the new stuff on Fiber Happenings this week. There was a lot to get through. Again, not on Fiber Happenings, but Louise Tilbrook is having a sale if you want to check her out. She's on she's on the Knitting Indie list. The link for Knits Where It's At is down in the description box. You can find all the designers there. And after I've wrapped things up here, I will put a link to Louise Tilbrook's PayHip store down in the description box as well. Trying to think if there's anything else. I did want to point out, still happening on Knit Picks is their book sale. So if you're interested in any knitting books, like say Knitting Brioche by Nancy Marchand, this may be on sale at Knit Picks. I'm not sure. I haven't looked that up. But if not, you can also obviously purchase it on Amazon or probably many other bookseller websites. Also, I don't have the physical book. This week's video, which was on the stretchy stretchy cast on and bind off. If you are looking for a book that has lots of cast ons and bind offs, lots of them, I highly recommend Cast On Bind Off by Capsese. It has, let's see if I remember the number, 211 ways to begin and end your knitting. This is the book that I have. It's on my Kindle, which is why I'm not holding it up for you guys. But I've learned so many cast-ons and bind-offs with this book. The illustrations are really good. And I find that the directions are very clear on how to do some of these cast-ons and bind-offs. I refer to it all the time. All the time. Cannot recommend it highly enough. So if you're interested in that, you can also check out Knit Picks or Amazon. Get the Amazon Kindle. It is one of those knitting books that I like to have on my Kindle. So no matter where I am, if I'm traveling, I have it with me on my phone. So anyway, I don't always like having knit books on my Kindle, but that is one that I like having on my Kindle. So I think that is everything for today. Whew. Sorry if I start talking really fast there at the end. But yeah. So this video coming up this week. Sorry. I can't believe I'm blanking again on what I shot this week. What is going on lately with my memory? I shot a video on Thursday. It's going to be going up next week. And it was it's on German double stitch. German double stitch short rows. So my next video is on the German double stitch short rows. I go over how to work it both when you're knitting, when you're purling, how to if you drop the stitch and your German double stitch comes undone, what do you do? I cover that in this video, and I discuss how to approach substituting German double stitch for other short row techniques. So it's an entire video dedicated to doing German double stitch short rows. That's going to be next week's video. And yeah, I think that is everything. If you have not already, I should have mentioned this earlier, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you are watching this on replay, please feel free to be part of the conversation down below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on color, putting together colors, selections, everything. If you are interested in joining along with the temperature blanket, or just kind of watching the progress of other people doing it, or just me doing it, feel free to join my Mighty Network group. It's not just the blanket knit along. It's just getting started. It's a little baby group, but if you want to join that link is down in the description box below. Also, again, I do have affiliate links in the description box. Affiliate links help support my channel because if you utilize one of the links, you make a purchase, I then may receive a small commission. And all of that gets reinvested back into Carrie Craft Geek, the YouTube channel, the website, everything. But again, please, only if you were planning to make a purchase anyway. If you want to leave me a tip, you can buy me a coffee. That link is down in the description box as well. My goal right now on Buy Me a Coffee, you can always see what I'm planning to do with those tips because I have a goal up, and my goal right now is to get a new web camera so I can improve my live stream. That's my goal right now. And yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you so much for joining me today, whether it's live or you're watching on the replay. I hope this was an enjoyable time for you. It certainly was for me. Let me know if you have any questions, if you have any video suggestions, anything at all. You can also follow me on social media. I'm very active on Instagram and Twitter. You can find that down in the description box. And if you have not already, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. These 3 things all really help support my channel, and it's like free. It lets YouTube know that this is a space worth checking out, and then YouTube starts recommending me to other people who are interested in knitting and crafting, and that helps grow my channel and build this community, and thank you so much for all of your support. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I hope it is a good week ahead for you. The week ahead. Hopefully it's a good week for everybody. Fingers crossed. And I think that's everything. I got my plugs, yeah. All right, so that means I just need to do one last thing. And there we go, we're ready. So again, thank you so much for joining me. And as always, happy health and happy knitting. Bye!